Hi, friend.
Hi, friend. Are you ready?
Ready for what?
To level up.
Okay, girl, let's get started. Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of our Brown Girl Month.
Yay! Sorry, guys. Alysha and I have not recorded podcasts together in so long because, we've been doing this virtually.
Yeah.
And we just kind of stared at each other's faces and we were like,
now what's
now
next?
Now what? Well,
let's tell you about today's topic.
On today's episode, we're going to be continuing our Brown Girl Month, and we're going to be talking about something us Indians and South Asian children had to do a lot of, which was live in, other people's shadows. And when we say people, we mean other people's children that our parents constantly compared us to.
Yeah. And so if you were like us, did you grow up with that cousin or sibling or family friend or even neighbor that your parents were just like, why can't you be more like them? Oh, look at them. They went to school and they went to university here. So if you've ever been compared to one of those annoying friends that you love but don't love, join us on our journey back to our
childhood.
Time. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So let me think about it.
I feel like my parents still do it.
Okay. Well,
not maybe to an extreme level like they used to do it, but I feel like they still do it.
Still make the comments, right? They're not aware that they're making that comment.
Maybe they are aware. But I think
what
their point, I think their point is to be aware and be like, I'm trying to make this point across.
Okay. So what do they say to you, Raman?
Okay. So some of the things that I grew up with, constantly hearing, was number one was I don't know how to make roti. So that was a big thing. They were like, oh, so-and-so's kid knows how to make roti and sabji and blah, blah, blah.
And what was your answer to that?
My answer was who the fuck am I making roti for? Because, okay, here's the thing. If my mother told me that, okay, we want you to learn how to make roti for us, I think maybe I would have reacted differently, but it was never like that. It was always oh, you need to learn how to make roti so that way when you go into somebody else's home, then it won't be oh, your mother never taught you anything.
Okay.
So it was never for my own home. And because you're asking me to do something for a future that I don't even know what's happening, when it's happening, who the fuck am I going to marry? And haha, joke's on them because I'm not marrying an Indian guy. So, it kind of worked out. Yeah. But to me, I was well, I kind of always snapped back. And I was well, I'm not making roti for anybody here. And I'm and maybe I'll make them something else.
Exactly.
And, I would just get back with a sassy response, basically.
Yeah. Okay. But I like that point you made that if they had just changed the dialogue, you would have probably tried it.
But I literally think they wanted me to make roti, not even for them, but literally
just know how to do it so they know they've done their job.
Yeah, so they don't feel oh, our daughter's going to go and, by default, they felt they would get judged if I didn't know how to do something.
If another typical Indian home.
That's true. And that's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. And it leads to this is the kind of thinking we have in our community that forces parents to feel they have to force their kids to do things that probably don't even make sense to your own parents. Let's be honest.
Yeah, 100%. And another one, Karen, if you're listening, you already know. She already knows because she was there throughout the whole time.
And okay, wait, can I tell you before you say yours?
Yeah.
So I met Karen for the first time at your Lodi party.
Oh, did you? Was that the first time?
Party. Yes,
yeah,
that was my first
nephews.
Time. Your nephews. And I'm not going to even lie. Yeah, Karen, I was stalking you. So I was staring at Karen the entire time because I was damn, she's so pretty. But I was yo, she's the perfect Indian girl because she knew how to do the dance.
Yeah.
Her chutney was tied I got this. And she was in a salwar suit. And I was damn, she's your perfect Indian girl.
So Karen's always been the responsible one.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah. She's always been the eldest. She's always been responsible. She was always the one that at her house, she would make the salad and then she would come to my house and eat the salad. And then if you know me, I'm not really the person that's around the salad plate often. So Karen would be around the salad plate, eating the salad in the kitchen. And obviously my mother's "Tu kyun nahi kha rahi?" Right?
And Karen loves salad.
Yeah, she loves salad and she would eat the fruits and veggies. And Karen knows this because literally I was compared to her right in front of her face. And then my mom would be no, we just found it funny. Honestly, we just laughed. And my mom would always be why can't you eat veggies like Karen? Karen eats so healthy. Why can't you eat healthy? And it was just one of those things that I constantly heard. And it was just honestly me and her just kind of laughed about it. Yeah. We still laugh about it. But there were so many situations like that where it would be oh, like so-and-so knows how to cook. It's only what parents see, right? It's not like, not in terms of Karen, but like in terms of other people like that my parents compared me to. Like they didn't see maybe some of the other sides of that person that they don't see, obviously.
Yeah, and there's good and bad to every person, right? Like we all had good and bad growing up. But I think it's good that you and Karen could laugh it off and still be friends and not let that impact your relationship together.
It was hilarious.
But can you imagine someone else who may have allowed that to impact a relationship because they felt threatened or they felt insecure after their parents said that to them?
100%. I mean, this is just talking about salad, right? But I can see like other parents out there that are like comparing their children to like, oh, so-and-so is like prettier or more fit or like, oh, they, you know, take care of themselves better or something like
university.
That. Oh, that's another thing parents constantly compare their children to, school, right? I feel like in our South Indian culture, it's like, you know, parents obviously want the doctor, the lawyer, the teacher, the, you know, kind of like professional, and like the other occupations are not really like,
they're not just up there that you brag about for Desi parents.
It's like, you know, like a Desi parent, I can't see them being like, oh, my child's an artist. Or they're an actor or they're,
unless they're in Bollywood.
Yeah, because then they're going to be constantly, I feel bad for those children because I bet you they are hearing like, oh, so-and-so's son is a lawyer or so-and-so's kid did this and look how much money they're making. They have a corporate job and blah, blah, blah. And these are just some of the things that, you know, brown parents compare their children to.
Yeah.
In front of their face, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. I think another huge thing is marriage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't really matter what age you got married at. It was just like, oh, look, they're married. And that's all that mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for me, I didn't grow up too much in that sense because my mom didn't compare me to another brown person. That's the problem. She compared me to someone else. And this person was very gifted, very smart, and had a very good head on their shoulders and like was just very intelligent. And to be compared to someone like that was very difficult for me because they were naturally gifted and smart.
Yeah.
So that was kind of annoying that my mom did that. I'm not a book person. Like I love reading, but I was never like a study book person.
Me either.
It was like
textbooks.
Yeah.
Who the fuck wants to read a textbook?
I think you and I are too creative for fucking textbooks. That's the problem. Probably draw little flowers on the fucking side of the textbook.
Yeah.
Or highlight. What color am I going to highlight this paragraph?
Let me get my colorful highlighters ready.
Let me write my notes in different colors. So I was compared to someone else, you know, my entire life as well. But my grandma did what your mom and dad did. Like, you should learn how to make roti because how are you going to go to someone's house and not learn roti? How are you going to do this? You should learn to do this. So when you get married, you know how to do this. You should talk a certain way. So she always like lectured me about that and would compare me to a million people that I don't even fucking know. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And then like my grandma's very religious. So when we would go to the mandir, I also was getting that since bachpan. Okay.
Yeah.
And the joke's on my grandma because let me tell you what happened. I got married. Okay. And my mother-in-law, I think, was shocked in the beginning because she was like, I don't understand how Alysha's related to her mother, but I see how she's related to her grandmother because she's so cultural. So I ended up doing the exact opposite.
You are a bit more cultural than your mom.
I'm more traditional, more cultural. I know all the religious dates that are going to happen. Like I'm bang on. Yeah. And I'm about wearing that nice outfit with the matching bagels and I'm there. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And so I think my mother-in-law was really shocked in the beginning because she was like, oh, she told my grandmother. I think she said something like how Alysha turned out so much like you. And of course, my grandmother goes, yeah, I know. I did that. So she like took full credit for who I am today. But little does my grandma knows that I saw my mom not do it, not host, not do these things, that I wanted to do it even more. So I had the opposite effect. Yeah. But I I think I liked it more as I grew up. Yeah. But the book smart thing, that was never going to happen. So I think they just gave up after I got into university. They're like, okay, at least you got into university.
I know. Oh my God. I wish my parents compared my studies more because maybe I would have worked harder.
Maybe to rebel.
I feel like even as a child, when I was getting compared to, you're just such at a sensitive age that you're believing everything that you're getting told, right?
It's true.
Even when you're going to other people's houses for dinners, it's like, we've talked about this. It's like parents feel like it's a competition. Everybody wants to brag about their kids. And, and I get in terms of parents' perspective, they kind of just want something to brag about their children about too. They don't want to be the ones to sit there and not have anything to say what are their children up to in their life. So I feel like it's for the competition between the parents at the same time. But at the same time, now that we're older, I would never allow anything my parents say to affect me because I would literally just laugh.
I agree. And you do. And
But I can see how being younger
can be impacted.
Especially when you have older siblings that are, more accomplished, or family members or big families with so many cousins and just so many occupations. And then you're kind of, and I feel bad for those, there are those odd ducklings.
Yeah.
No, you're not an odd duckling. I mean, like the odd one out.
You're beating to your own drum of your own path.
Yeah.
And I think that's totally fine, right? It's also with the circumstances of the resources you were given as you were growing up, kind of what our passion is at the end of the day. I think maybe I'm being naive, but I feel like we live in a community and society now that we do encourage people to beat to their own drum, in the sense that, like, if you want to go and start an entrepreneurship, if you want to create a business, it's more looking upon the fact that, like, wow, you created a business. That's a big deal. As opposed to 10 years ago, I don't think it was that big of a deal. But now any business that started that brings in any kind of source of income is such a big deal today.
Yeah.
Because it's like, to have a business-oriented mind is the way of the future. Let's be honest. 9-to-5s are so much, but so are business orientation, right? And that kind of goes back to our hustle conversation.
Can I be honest with you? My parents did not really understand the whole concept of me having a side business at first.
Yeah.
To them, they were already proud. They were like, okay, you went to university, you got a degree, you're working in your field. Like, oh my God, great. Like, we're so proud, okay, what's next? Marriage.
Yeah. Raman was like, nope.
Yeah. So to them, I was accomplished. I was ready. I had kind of followed my path. But obviously me starting a side business they didn't understand why. They were like, but why? Mm-hmm. They were like, you have a full-time job. You're working in a professional field. And they were like, yeah, like, why do you want this extra stress? Like, what are you really going to make on the side? Why are you doing this? And I'll be honest, I feel like my parents kind of started becoming more supportive of it. Like when they maybe started seeing me a bit more accomplished, which is kind of sad because it always still makes me feel a little bitter about it. Because obviously we want the people supporting us to support us even when we have nothing, right? So to me, I was like, okay, well, even if I don't accomplish in this, like, why is it a big deal? Like, I'm doing this for me. So I was very bitter about it with them at first. But now, exactly what you said, now everybody has a side business. Everybody has a side hustle.
It's so normal.
So they see it. They see it's not just me. And it's not
and you're very successful in the business.
And I think now they say it proudly to other people, right? So now it's like, I have a little upper hand and when they can brag about the competitive kids
But
thing.
I think it's because it wasn't normal for them.
It wasn't normal for them. Yeah. And they didn't understand, like, why am I going to go do something else when I already have a full-time job? I don't even think they told people at the beginning, right? You have to remember this was like 4 or 5 years ago. I don't even think they told people at the beginning that, like, oh, my daughter has a decor business. Because to them, they were like, okay, well, they're telling people the part that they're proud of, right? Yeah. That, like, okay, I'm in my HR profession. I have a job. I get a salary. Okay, like, they're happy about that. But they didn't understand necessarily that, like, I want more.
Yeah. And it's the more factor that I think more of our generation is fighting for. It's not just marriage that's next and children. It's more, right? Before I get there. It's knowing that I found myself and I was able to do things that feed that inner child or that inner passion. And I think that's what's going to make us those people that are going to be happier parents to our children, that are going to enjoy life a lot more. You know, I think gone the times that our parents worked and gave everything up for their kids are the times now that we're going to work just as hard, but also enjoy it and not just save and save, right? Like, I feel like there's so many different avenues that will take us down.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, like you said, it's just becoming more normal now. Yeah. And now it's like they are seeing, okay, like, my daughter has a business. My daughter does this. My daughter does this. So I'm like, okay, so now something you were not shameful, sorry, I don't want to use the word shameful, but something you just weren't supportive or accepting of, now you are. And now he sees it as a thing that, other people can compare to his children.
Exactly. Okay, so my mom proudly now says, oh, you're a jack of all trades. Yeah. Because whatever I say I'm going to do, I usually try to do or attempted to do or whatever. And she's like, yeah, you're a jack of all trades. And I don't know, she would have thought that was a compliment before, but now I do take it as a compliment because she made a comment about me and my brother the other day. She was like, at least I know you two will always find ways to make money. Yeah. Because we have our 9-to-5s, and he's still in school, but he also created a side hustle. And so did I. And she says that all the time to us, like, when she said that, I was like, okay, she gets it. Like, she finally gets it. You know what I mean? So I think it's definitely a huge thing.
Yeah. I want to talk about something that makes me die laughing.
Tell me.
Okay. Man, I have so many stories, but this is something that kills me is when my parents try to compare me to somebody that I know more about.
That's the worst.
Yo, but it's jokes because you can't really be a snitch.
No, you can't.
Right?
Because then they're also either your friend or family.
Oh my God, so many times they'll be like, oh, this person's kid is doing, and I think I told you recently, and I shared this story too. So recently, I know a family and, you know, to be honest, the son is very successful. Okay. The parents are very business oriented. I don't know what happened to the daughter. The parents are super business oriented. They came, you know, here when my parents came here and, you know, they've started many businesses. They're very like just business oriented. So naturally their son is business oriented. I'm not surprised, right? Yeah. Very goal oriented stuff. The daughter, don't know what happened to her. She's artsy side, but the things she does, I don't know if she actually makes money off of it. Anyway, so she moved away. Obviously, I follow her on Instagram. Okay, so anyway, so this girl, you know, I didn't know so much about her, right? Yeah. So this family lives really far away. So when they come in town, sometimes they sleep over. Okay. So I hadn't had a chance to connect with the daughter in a really long time. Oh my God, the shit that I found out about her. What? That like she got kicked out of school. Her parents didn't know for so long. And then she was living somewhere else. And then she eventually got booked and all this shit, right? And in my head, I'm just like, your parents are probably sitting downstairs telling my parents about your university degree. Literally. So, you know, like all that.
So her parents didn't know she got kicked out of school?
No, they didn't know she got kicked out of school. And then she didn't tell them, but she was taking like the tuition money. But then anyway, so much shit, right? So I just kind of died laughing because, you know, my parents are always like, oh, they're such good kids, blah, blah, blah. And it's so hard in situations like these when you know that the person they're comparing you to is a fuck up. Not a fuck up. You know, we all fuck up, but you know, their version of a fuck up. And then you can't say anything.
You didn't tell your parents?
No, of course not. I'm not a fucking
You're
snitch.
A good fucking person. Yeah. I would totally spill the tea after they left.
You know what? I wouldn't expect somebody else to like tell their parents about me because you know how parents are. They just spread the word and they'll just tell each other and stuff. So I'm like, I'm not going to be that person, whatever, right? But it's just so funny because like a month ago, I guess my mom was on the phone with my aunt and I actually messaged the girl on Instagram and I'm like, yo, did you move to like Costa Rica? Right? Because I see like she's been there for mad long, you know, nice booty pic. Okay. So, and she's like, yeah, whatever. Right. And I see she's with her boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. And it's so funny because then the aunt told my mother that she moved there for like a job opportunity, like of whatever that she does. Right. And I'm like,
no, she didn't.
I just looked at my mom. I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know what to say to you. And I just kind of laughed in my head because I was like, it's not why she moved there. Yeah. I see her Instagram stories every day. So I don't see any work being happening. So it's just funny when like your parents compare. And, you know, and I tell my parents this all the time. And I don't know if you ever did it. Yeah. I always tell them, I'm like, listen, you have to remember that I'm their age. I actually know more about them than you know about them.
It's so true.
And then they're like, oh, what do you know? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you, but know that I know more than you know. So before you think that like, my daughter's the evil one. Yeah. You know, I'm better than maybe you ever fucking hoped.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe that 100%. That's a really good point, actually. Because if you think about it, it's like we would know the truth, but we're not going to.
We have Instagram, we have videos, we have Snapchat.
We have proof, we have evidence.
We go out with these people sometimes, right? So it's just so funny because, and especially like another thing my mom always said was like, oh, so-and-so's daughters don't drink. So-and-so's, and I'm like, bro, everybody drinks.
Everybody drinks. Everybody. If they're telling you they're not.
They think like they're like, so-and-so's daughter, so-and-so's daughter. I'm like, bro, so-and-so's daughter was hammered, man.
She was blacked out on the dance floor.
You don't even know.
Yeah.
Those are the funny
ones. Two sides to every story, people.
Yeah. And I think like, you know, if your parents are comparing you to other people, just to remember that they're irrational.
Yeah. Our parents don't get it.
They don't get it. They only see like the side of the story that other parents are telling them. And let's be real, like you're never going to talk bad about your child to other people.
Never.
Like, you're always going to tell them good things and stuff like that. So, like, don't believe it.
Exactly.
Don't believe it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100%. So if you're being compared to other people, just laugh at your parents like I do.
Let it go. Let it go. Don't through one ear and out the other.
Do not take it seriously. No. And if you need to fucking
don't be
throw somebody under the bus, I was
going to take a page out of your book and not snitch.
Well, okay, here's the thing. If you're somebody like me and you can laugh it off, don't snitch. But I have to say, there probably are kids out there that are getting compared to like a very aggressive level where it's like their parents are making them feel like shit and blah, blah, blah. And
snitch
fine. If they're constantly comparing you to fucking, Preeti, who's like the best kid in the world, you fucking throw her in the bus, man. Throw her under the bus.
Do it. You have full encouragement from Level Up.
Yeah. Blame us. Blame us. Awesome, everyone. Well, thanks for listening to another one of our brown girl problems that we have grown up with.
Yeah.
And,
hopefully you can relate. With. And if you're going through it right now, you're not alone.
Are you even brown?
Yeah. Like, where do you live? Where are you at?
Where you at?
Costa Rica?
Maybe. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. If you are not following us on social media already, follow us on Level Up with Raman and Alysha. And if you have any stories to share, feel free to share at Raman and Alysha at gmail.com.
Thanks, friends.
Bye, everyone.